and welcome to Sisters in Medicine. Today we are going to be talking to you all about the flu shot. You all can let us know what you think as well. All right, so Dr. Ava, what do you think about the hospital? And I can't remember where it was, but they fired 50 employees for not getting the flu shot. What do you think about that?
I think it's very controversial. I think that, I'm a doctor, so I do believe in shots, immunizations. I do believe in the flu shot. I think it's very important that every single person gets a flu shot every year because it does help protect you from the worst symptoms that you could get if you do. But then at the same time, I can understand why some employees will be upset that they don't really have the choice to be able to tell the employer whether or not they want to take the shot. I can understand why a hospital would want to require their employee to have the flu shot because as healthcare professionals, it's our duty to make sure that we protect our patients, especially those who are immunosuppressed. So by protecting ourselves, we're in turn minimizing the risk to those patients. But then at the same time, we're also individuals of our own, and this is our body. So we have a right to decide what we want to take as far as medication, what shot we want to give ourselves as far as any kind of immunizations. As a human being, you have to have a right over your own body and your own health care. And so I'm on the fence with this one. How about you?
Oh my God. So one of the nurses was fired from the hospital was a NICU nurse, meaning like a neonatal intensive care unit nurse. Now, personally, as someone who plans to have children in the future, very near future, I would feel very uncomfortable if a hospital allowed nurses who weren't vaccinated against the flu to be taking care of my baby. And so, from that standpoint, as someone who could see themselves as the patient in that situation or as the mother of a patient in that situation, and also as someone who just understands that the flu is deadly. Like, the flu can kill people.
But still though, like firing somebody, give them the option to move them to another unit or give them the option to maybe wear a mask. I'm sure there's other things they could do. Trust me, I believe in flu shots and I do think everyone should have the flu shots. But I don't know if they should fire someone who doesn't want it
Yes,
though.
that's a good point, right? Like, you are messing with someone's livelihood, right? Like, you fire someone for choosing not to get the flu shot. And like you said, I don't know for sure if all of these people were offered other options, like you're saying, wearing a mask or getting a letter of exemption, let's say, because they had a reaction to a flu vaccine before or something like that. But I would imagine that those options were offered in terms of like wearing the mask or offering a letter of exemption. But the thing that might be harder, especially knowing how the healthcare system works, is just putting these people in non-patient care positions when their job description is to care for patients, like a nurse, for instance, who is a floor nurse who can't just be sent to do some administrative duties or desk work away from patients when her contract says these are your duties.
I wonder if maybe this should include this in the contract. Meaning, if you take the job, you're also accepting the fact that every single year you're going to have the flu shot because that's part of your agreement to even taking the job. That way, no one can turn around and say, well, I don't want the flu shot. Well, you took the job and that was part of your descriptions.
I totally agree with you. What do you think makes people, I guess, reluctant to get flu shots? Like, what do you think? Because, you believe in flu shots. You get the flu shot every year. And
Absolutely.
I do too. I get the flu shot every year. My husband does. Everyone in my family gets the flu shot every year. So, what is it, do you think, makes people so resistant to getting the flu shot?
I think as a society, we're now not trusting what people are telling us anymore. We're not trusting anybody, especially doctors now. With Google now, anybody can Google their own symptoms and Google their own diagnosis and they believe whatever the internet tells them. And also, there's been a few celebrities that came out in the past against vaccinations, and because of their status and their celebrity status, they're able to reach out to a lot of people. They've said some things that were not really in the literature, that have not really been proven, but there's a few subset of people that will believe what they're told. That's why some people are reluctant to vaccinating their children or even vaccinating themselves with the flu shot or any kind of other shots. Another thing is there's a belief out there that when you take the flu shot, you catch the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Some people believe that. And so they're afraid to catch the flu. And so they don't even take the flu shot.
Right.
And we know that's not true. You don't catch the flu by getting a flu shot.
Not
And so there's a few things out there that are confusing people. And we probably need to set the record straight.
all of the myths. I'm here for it. So, myth number one, first and foremost, you cannot catch the flu from the flu shot. That doesn't make scientific sense
No,
at
you
all.
can't. That shots can give you autism and
Oh
other kind of,
my
you
God.
know.
Your children are vaccinated, right?
Yeah, of course. I have to I do vaccinate my kids every single year.
Exactly. And they're both highly functioning children.
Very well so.
Exactly. I have two beautiful nephews, both very intelligent, very smart, high functioning individuals, have gotten all of their vaccinations. They don't have autism. And I think that the evidence in quotes that's out there about the flu vaccine being associated with autism is bogus. And I think that it has been debunked, but society still has that suspicion or belief. And I
Mm-hmm.
think what people don't understand is, as physicians, allopathic physicians, meaning we went to, an allopathic medical school, we have MDs, we practice evidence-based medicine, right? Like the reason that we recommend things, it is because there's evidence behind it. And
Right.
evidence meaning a valid study of whatever intervention we're recommending to people. And I feel like people don't understand that about the medicine that we practice, that it is evidence-based medicine. And we're trained to like look at the evidence that's out there and critique it and make sure that it's valid and appropriate for our patients. I just think people don't understand that. And if they did, they would have a little more faith in medicine and the system and what we do. In terms of vaccines, like, I have never seen polio in my career, ever.
In my
In my life, exactly. In my life.
life, because we were able to eradicate that solely from vaccinating. So you don't want that to come back.
You don't. And I don't think people understand how powerful vaccines are. And the thing about it is, and I'll throw this out there for everyone who wants to hear it, there are risks associated with vaccines. There are people that have reactions to them. But at the same time, the risks and the benefits outweigh the risks. And that's why it's a universal guideline.
You know what else about the flu shot too is some people say, and I hear that a lot. I mean, I've gotten the flu shot before and I still got the flu. So what's the point? So they feel like, I mean, me too, but they feel like that's another myth is if you get the flu shot, you are never going to have the flu for sure. And so I just want to put it out there that just getting the flu shot is not a guarantee that you're not going to catch the flu. You may catch the flu. You may also catch a milder form of the flu because you've been vaccinated with the flu vaccine. Also, the flu vaccine itself is made by strains from the last maybe 2 or 3 years of the most common strains, and that's how they make the shot. Every year, a new strain may pop up
Exactly.
that may not have gotten the chance to be in this flu vaccine. So it's not 100% effective, but it's better than nothing. Going back to what you said, with one of the nurses being a NICU nurse, um, I can understand why the hospital would want to require a nurse that's taking care of babies that are in the NICU that are immunosuppressed and very sick. Because these kids, if they catch anything, there's no way they're gonna survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we can explain for the viewers that aren't necessarily in medicine already, like what do you mean when you say immunosuppressed?
What I mean is your immune system is so beat up and so low that it's not able to fight diseases, viruses, or bacteria that may come into the body.
Exactly. And so for people who are immunosuppressed, meaning they can't fight infections the same way that you or I can as healthy individuals, and a lot of them can't even get vaccinated with live vaccines like the flu vaccines because their immune system won't respond to them,
Right.
and it may hurt them. And so
Right.
those people are one, they it's not recommended that they get the flu vaccine. It's actually like a contraindication that immunosuppressed people, with certain groups of them, don't get the flu
Yeah,
vaccine.
vaccines they can't get. Period.
Exactly. And
But
so they are protected by us if we get the vaccine and we don't catch the flu or any form of the flu. If we can't, if we're vaccinated against it, we're less likely to catch it and we're less likely to expose them to it. And so
right.
that's the concept of herd immunity that people probably hear a lot about in the media, like how there are vulnerable populations like the immunosuppressed babies, the immunosuppressed cancer patients, the people with HIV who can't afford meds, the homeless people who don't have access to healthcare. Those people are all protected if we get vaccinated because we have access to healthcare, we have access to vaccines.
So what do you think about the hospital firing people that?
My strong opinion about it is I feel bad for those people that they got fired, but I don't think it was unreasonable for them to have gotten fired. I think that as a healthcare professional, as a physician, as a healthcare professional who is around vulnerable populations, it is your duty to protect those people. And a part of you fulfilling that duty is getting your flu shot. I completely understand the whole idea of having autonomy and choosing what happens to your body, and that's fine. Go ahead and make that choice to not get it, but also be ready to not be able to work around people that you're not willing to protect anymore in that
Right,
regard.
and I agree with you. I do think that as healthcare professionals, it is our duty to protect our patients. That's what we want to do first and foremost. Put the patient first and protect the patient. And so, in order to do that, we need to make sure that we take care of ourselves. We protect ourselves from the diseases that we can avoid by by being vaccinated. So that when we walk around the hospital from patient to patient to patient, it's not a guarantee that we're not going to be able to protect those patients, but we're minimizing those risks to those patients. But at the same time, I think that to avoid any issues with people being fired and not being happy, before you even hire someone, you need to let them know this is the deal. Before you take this job, you have your job duties. Can you fulfill those duties? Yes or no? And one of those duties is to get vaccinated every single year in this facility. It's required. You want to take a job? Yes. You don't think you can do that? Then this job is not for you. That way we can just avoid these kind of issues, and everybody in the hospital that's hired are people that have said yes to vaccination. It's that simple. And everyone protected, and all our patients can leave healthy. Well, as healthy as possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is it for the flu shot. This was my opinion and Dr. Ciri's opinion. I'm Dr. Eva.
I'm Dr. Ciri.
Until next time, we'll have another topic to talk to you guys about, probably sometime next week.
Bye.
Bye.